Hello and welcome to the
Ginger and Spice podcast. So we'll be reviewing all of the spicy books that we read this week, and we'll be giving them star ratings and the chilli peppaaaazz. The chillies.
Okay, should we quickly list out the books that we read this week before we get into the nitty gritty?
Yeah, because I had a great time this week.
Yeah, so what books did we read this week?
So we had Darling Wildfire by Devon Rivers, Be With Me by Gabrielle Sands, Dancer and the Masks by B. Page, Heavy by M.L. Burns, and Deliver by Pam Godwin. This was a strong week.
Yeah, really good.
I had a whale of a time.
So, for context, this was dark romance themed. I'd say Be With Me was less dark romance and probably just more turfed into mafia.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, should we start with the first book then and do Deliver by Pam Godwin?
Yes.
Oh, Lordy. This was hella dark.
Yeah, it was.
There was some themes in this that were pretty bad.
So the female main character in this was the bad guy, essentially. Yeah. She was the villain. And that made a nice change, actually, as well. I mean, obviously, the themes were not very nice, and what she was doing was not very nice, but it was just a nice switch up plot-wise.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a rundown of the book?
I shall give a rundown. Okay, so we've got Liv, who is a deliverer. She trains people for about 10 weeks and then they are sold on. She kind of stalks them for a little while, doesn't she?
Yeah,
before she kidnaps them.
She does her research, yeah.
Yeah. So in this one, we've got Josh, who's a college football player, and she's been watching him for a little while. And she kind of has like little feels for him. And then she ends up kidnapping him. And then you kind of see like this pull between both of them because she kind of likes him but she shouldn't, and she's trying to do her job, and yeah, it unfolds from there really.
Yeah, you kind of find out in this that actually it's not what Liv is doing, it's not as cut and dried as you are led to believe in the beginning. She's actually trapped herself, so she actually started off as also being kidnapped, and instead of her being trained and then sold off, she ended up becoming a deliverer for these bad people. So there's people above her. There's lots of trauma in this that she's suffering from. She's been in this situation a long time now. And Josh also is a very different captive for her. He comes from a good family, he had a good upbringing, etc. And usually she concentrates on taking people who don't really have family around, who there's no one around to miss them, so no one's going to come looking. But she had this pull, like you say, to Josh, and she just couldn't set that aside, and he fitted the brief perfectly for what this buyer wanted. And the buyer wanted a male who heavily disliked women, so he wouldn't cheat. He wouldn't be inclined to go with somebody else, because this buyer had been cheated on by his wife, so he was a man scorned.
The thing with Josh was that he kind of didn't lay down, like he wasn't really accepting it. They were trying to control him and he wasn't really allowing it to happen.
So that the whole book isn't just him in captivity. We actually get the development of the relationship a decent amount of time through the book, and then there's lots of after effects of that and about escape, and there's some plot twists in regards to what Liv is doing as well.
So good. The plot twists in this book was so good. Like, I genuinely didn't see any of them coming at all.
The way that plot twist was done, I was like, that's hit. Epic.
It hit nicely. It hit at the right time. And do you know what? The spice was pretty bad for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But when they sort of came together properly, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just really, especially because he was like a little Christian boy.
He was like a big burly man, but he was also like a Christian boy at heart. So like the two of those things together just made for sort of like a golden retriever wrapped up in bear's clothing. I really liked him as an MMC, and I actually really liked her as well. Eventually I did really like her. Should we get into ratings?
Absolutely.
Okay, should we do stars?
Let's do the stars.
3, 2, 1.
4.5.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, I genuinely loved it. I couldn't get enough of it.
I agree.
It was great.
The plot twist, I think, solidified the 4.5 for me. I think it was kind of like 4 up to that point. But the plot twist and then everything that happened after, I was like, wow. Okay,
Hit hard.
Great. All right, should we do chili pepper?
The chilies!
3, 2, 1, 4.5.
He still had his V plates, but he was down to get dirty.
He had some specific quirks, let's say, that he knew he liked. I mean, he was like 20, something like that.
Yeah,
19,
I think
20.
he was 20, yeah.
So even though he hadn't gone all the way with someone, he knew what he liked, and he also knew that what he liked was actually quite dark.
Yeah.
And he knew he couldn't be satisfied by like an average woman. So actually, when he met Liv as well, essentially she was like perfect for his needs.
He really pulled out the tricks, and I was like,
Okay, in this, there's a scene where they go for their first meeting with Josh's buyer. So it's Liv and Josh, and then they go to this kind of like warehouse to meet the buyer in kind of like secret. And they turn up, and the buyer is there, but his wife is also there, and the wife is strung up, and she's crying, and she's got like, I think she's got like a mouth thing in, doesn't she? Where her mouth is open. She's like dribbling all down her face and stuff. And so they walk in and they're like, oh my God, what on earth is going on here? And he is just obviously not a very nice man.
buyer. He was awful.
And what happens in this scene is absolute, it is horrendous, but oh my God, it was so good. I was literally just like on the edge of my seat. Shit goes off down. So it's up to Liv to introduce the buyer to Josh, and for the buyer to basically sign off the purchase and say, yeah, I'm happy with him, I'm happy with the training you've done so far.
Oh God, it was so bad.
But oh my God, so he wants to like, the buyer wants to test the waters a little bit, test his new play thing.
Yeah.
And Liv doesn't want the buyer to touch Josh because she's obviously taken a liking to him. So she tries to protect him. So she's like, well, I'll take it. So he ends up bending her over Josh, and then she then has to take Josh in her mouth.
Yeah.
And the buyer wants Josh to get off from him, not from Liv.
Yeah.
And the anger that's radiating off everyone in this scene. The scene was absolutely terrible. Bearing in mind, the wife is strung up behind them,
watching it unfold.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just one of many, many really not great scenes that were actually enjoyable to read.
I mean,
because they were just messed up.
So I enjoyed the one where he basically got vacuum packed, and then she was like grinding on him.
Yeah, it was like a giant Johnny.
Yeah,
it was like
she was
like a body bag
grinding on him, and I was like, okie dokie then.
I had to read that a couple of times because I was like, is she basically wrapping him in a giant Johnny? Like, and then I was like, that is so weird.
Yeah. It was mental.
Wild.
I've never read anyone that has come up with something like that. So when it was happening, I was like, am I enjoying this?
Yeah. No.
Like, am I down? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I had a great time.
Okay, so should we do the next one?
Absolutely we should.
What are we doing now?
So we're going to do Heavy by M.L. Burns,
okay,
because I fucking love this one. I lapped this up so hard and I left no crumbs.
Yep.
It was great. It was amazing.
We've got another Daddy Ronan. Another Daddy. What is it about the name Ronan?
Daddy kink. Oh.
What is it about the name Ronan? I
don't know. They're everywhere now. They're literally everywhere.
I love it.
I'm down.
Literally, from now on, if you tell me the MMC is called Ronan,
I'm reading it.
I'm reading it.
Yeah.
All right. So this book is actually 500 pages long. And when I realised that, I was like, oh, wow, that's a long book. That's a long dark romance book. I actually prefer dark romances to maybe be like 400 pages, between 300 and 400 pages.
Yeah.
However, those 500 pages, you were kept entertained.
Oh my God, I had a great time the whole way through.
Yeah, whole way through.
I loved it.
Okay. Do you want to give a rundown of Heavy?
So this one is a dark taboo romance because it is step uncle and step niece. So we've got Callista, who it starts off that her house burns down. So she goes to her mum and she goes, can I move into the cabin? I'll spend 6 months there. I'll do it up. Don't tell your husband or her stepdad. So that happens. And then you've got Daddy / Uncle Ronan, who's then coming out of prison, and his brother goes to see him and is like, look, you can move into the cabin. I won't tell my wife. You stay there for however long you want. And then, fix your life up. So obviously, they both turn up at the cabin together. And we know what's going to unfold there, don't we?
Yep.
Bit of forced proximity.
Forced proximity has entered the chat.
We love that shit. So there's like a lot of tension. He doesn't like her. But she's kind of like, look, let's just stay together. We'll make this work. I'm only going to be here like to do up the cabin.
And until the insurance claim comes through on the burned down house.
Then I'll get out of here. But I mean, Christ, so much happens. It gets bad quickly. And obviously they do fall for each other, but the path that comes between that happening is
they've
rogue.
both got a lot of baggage in this, a lot of trauma, a lot of bad things happened to them when they were younger and as kids, especially him. That is like the overarching theme, is these bad things that happened to both of them.
So he can't be touched because of what happened to him when he was younger.
Callista, or Cal, on the flip side, also had some bad things happen to her. Her mum was an addict when she was younger after her dad died, and she ended up taking the mum ended up taking Cal to like a crack den. Her mum has managed to get clean, but in the journey of getting clean, her mum got involved with some very bad people, and those bad people have stayed in Cal's life, kind of blackmailing her, and that all comes to a head in the book, and it is bad.
It's fucking terrible, but there are some good bits. Like, there are some fun bits in this book, because all we've done is talk about all the bad stuff.
The spice in this between them. So from the moment that they arrive at the cabin together, the tension and the connection is immediate.
Oh, do you know what scene? Do you know the scene? The towel scene, where he drops the towel and she picks up the and he makes her pick the towel up.
And he's basically just and her head is like right in front of his. Yeah.
Oh, the tension in that scene.
Oh my God.
That was delicious.
The tension in all of the scenes. So one of my favourite ones is actually when one of the very first meetings, and he tells her to get on her knees and beg for him not to say anything about her staying in the cabin to her stepdad, because obviously only the mum knows that she's there and only the stepdad knows that the uncle is there. So he was like, well, you're gonna have to beg for it, get on your knees. And then he gets the camera out and he basically tells her to say, please, daddy. That was the very first time that the daddy kink was used in this book, and I nearly passed away.
I nearly ceased to exist. It was incredible.
Oh my God.
There's so many spicy scenes in this that are actually impeccable. What about when the stepdad caught them and he just carried on?
He turned red. The stepdad walked into the cabin. They're in the kitchen. She's on her knees, like obviously throat deep. And the stepdad walks in and Ronan just turns around to him and is like, 45 more seconds, I'll be done. If you don't want to stay for this, you might want to clear off. And he basically just holds her there and then finishes.
Yeah.
And she's like, mortified, and that's how the stepdad finds out that they're in a relationship. That was insane.
It was so good. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
The tattoo scene that was towards the end.
Bonfire.
The bonfire. That was insane. That bonfire scene.
Yeah. I'm not going to get over this book for a very long time.
The spice in this was so good. Like the tension, the connection between them. Like the fact that he didn't like being touched, so it was like a slow burn on her being allowed to touch him in certain places. That just made the tension even better.
Yeah, for sure. Should we do some ratings?
Sure.
Should we start with the stars?
Absolutely.
Oh, 3, 2, 1,
4.5.
I can't get enough. I can't get enough of thinking about Daddy/Uncle Ronan. Like I can't. So they're both tattooed and they're both pierced as well.
Oh yeah, so they're both pierced down there.
Yeah.
I think, did she also have nipple piercings? Yeah, she did.
And it was delightful. Okay, let's do the chilli.
Chili peppaaaazz.
3, 2, 1, 4. It was so fucking good.
Yep.
It was so fucking good. The chasing. He chased her in the woods.
He did. Yeah. I forgot about that.
The tampon scene.
I'm not too sure about that. Oh my God, there were so many scenes I actually forgot about.
I've just unlocked a whole load of scenes in my brain that I completely forgot about.
All right, what's next?
Okay, next we've got Be With Me by Gabrielle Sands. So this one was Mafia. I actually wanted this to be darker.
I also wanted this to be more Mafia.
Ah, okay.
As well as darker.
Yeah. I don't know, I was expecting a lot of unaliving and nothing really happened.
Yeah, I think like with a Mafia romance, you do sort of expect there to be quite a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like unaliving wise, shit going down. And there wasn't really much of that. You got a bit towards the end, didn't you?
Yeah.
Of like the more Mafia side of things coming into play, but it wasn't really throughout the book. It was basically just the development of their relationship.
Yeah.
The start of this book was giving, if If you've read Predator by, is it Runix? Is that how you say it? How they meet in this book is very, very similar to how they meet in that book.
All right.
Do you want to give the rundown?
I'll do a rundown. So we've got Mia, whose father is going for mayor, and he wants to take down the crime family, the biggest crime family, which is the Ferreros.
Yeah.
So Mia's best friend is getting engaged, but Mia is not invited to the engagement party, so she wants to go and confront her best mate. She ends up going to this house, confronting her, and she's like, oh, well, you know, I didn't tell you because I'm actually getting married to a mafia man. So she was like, oh, shit. So she was like, I'm going to have to hide you because no one can see you here. Puts her in a bedroom. And then Romolo Ferrero turns up in the bedroom. She's listening to him because he's having a conversation with someone else. That someone else then walks out, and then she walks out, and he's there, and he's like, oh, was you listening to my conversation then? It gets very heated between both of them. They end up on top of each other. She kicks him in the balls, and then he's pretty fascinated by her.
Yeah, he's like, wow, I like this bitch.
She's feisty.
Yeah.
I want in.
Yeah.
I want in on this action. So he then goes and sees her and asks her to be his stylist.
So he was trying to get close to her to try and get more information about her dad, who's going to be mayor, potentially taking down his family. And she also wanted information from him about how his brother, who's marrying her friend, to make sure that her friend is safe and everything is hunky-dory.
Hunky-dory.
And it's a constant kind of back and forth of them trying to subtly get information out of the other one, all whilst their tension and connection is kind of like building. They can't really keep away from each other. Eventually they both kind of like snap and they just come together.
She was out with her friends. He turned up, and then she invited him back to her friend's house, and they was outside on the balcony, and he was feeling her up.
Yeah, that was very nice.
That was very nice.
I'd say that was the best tension scene in the book.
It took a long time to get to this point,
Yeah.
And then I think even between that and then when they first do it, there's
that was also a long time. I did enjoy this book, and I enjoyed the tension, and I did enjoy the connection between the two of them. However, it's not a very memorable book, I don't think. And considering there's quite a lot of hype around it, I don't get it. I don't get the hype that's been around this book. It was fine. Yeah, in my opinion.
I mean, it was kind of like a mafia soap opera is probably the best way to describe it. But I don't know, I had more expectations on there being like a bit more of a dark side to it and maybe a bit more spice.
It was like a fluffy mafia.
Yeah.
A bit, yeah. There wasn't that much kind of like darker elements to it.
It was fine.
Plot-wise, there wasn't really much going on until you got a little bit of plot at the end.
Let's do some ratings.
Okay.
Let's start with the stars.
All right.
3, 2, 1, 3.5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fair.
Apart from kind of like specific scenes, I couldn't really tell you what the plot was. And it's just not very memorable. If you ask me in a couple of months, have you read this book? I'll be like, oh yeah, I know I've read it because I recognise the cover and the name. But if you said, can you tell me what it's about? In a couple of months, I'd be like, I ain't got a clue.
No, probably not.
Should we do chili peppaaaazz?
Absolutely we should.
Chili peppaaaazz.
Chili.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, 2.5.
There just wasn't enough.
No, there wasn't
I wanted
enough.
more. If you're not going to give me a darker side, give me a load of spice.
It just felt like each aspect was lacking. It was like the toe was dipped into each thing. The toe was dipped into the spice. The toe was dipped into mafia. The toe was dipped into dark romance. The toe was dipped into plot, but it never quite got there for each thing.
Yeah,
do you know what
agree.
I mean?
Yeah.
So it was fine. Also, the spice was fine. I will say, I think I've got a note here. He's 6'4" and he's covered in tattoos. So he had that going for him.
We like that. We like that a lot,
very much,
don't we?
Right, we've only got one more, and then we're going to talk about Darling Wildfire. So we're going to quickly go through Dancer in the Masks by B. Page.
Yes.
And then we're going to dissect Darling Wildfire after.
Absolutely.
So let's get into Dancer in the Masks. So this is book 1 of a duet. It is Dancer in the Masks and then Masks and the Dancer.
Not to confuse you.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I fucking love this book.
This was so
I loved
good.
it.
Like, I've never read something that was like this.
No, I agree.
Like, this is dark romance, but just the themes in this book were fucking amazing.
The way it was laid out, the plot, everything that was happening, it kind of like, it's sort of like things that you've definitely seen before, but done in a way that I've never seen done before. So like kidnapping, been done before. Locked in a big house, been done before, but not in this way. Masked Men, been done before, but not like this.
No,
like, it's just,
honestly.
she took these kind of like simple things that are done quite a lot in dark romance and just took them to another level. This was so good. And honestly, this author's writing is so underrated. I really wish more people read her books because oh my Gideon.
Yeah.
This really took me by surprise. I did not know what to expect. I didn't necessarily go in blind. What I was served was not what I was expecting to get at all.
Like, not at all. I didn't actually read the blurb, but this wasn't what I was expecting.
This is technically a Why Choose. And we've also read another Why Choose by her, which we won't talk about right now, but that was also amazing. Yeah. But this was darker than the one we've previously read. And oh my God, it's like 3 masked men who are trying to avenge the death of their father. So they kidnap the sister of the woman who murdered him. They take her to this really remote location in the Highlands. They lock her in a castle.
Yeah.
Literally a castle.
Medieval castle.
It's got very eerie feelings to this book.
Big time.
Like, really dark feelings.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Oh my God.
And she turns up at this place and there's lots of other people that are there that were also kidnapped. But they're now choosing to stay. So she gets there. Nobody else has ever seen these men without their masks on. Everyone else that's there has numbers. So instead of names, they're all numbered. 12,
have their
13.
names taken off them.
Yeah, they have their names taken away, given a new identity of this number. So her new identity is 0. That's her new number. So they call her 0, aka naught, aka nothing.
Yeah.
And that is what they like calling her.
Every time Jacob called her nothing, I genuinely laughed. I was like, this is just amazing.
It was amazing.
It was so good.
I fucking loved it. It was so
good.
It
was just so
Even
good.
just that spin on her name being 0, and one of them called her nothing.
Yeah.
Come here, nothing.
Yeah.
On your knees, nothing.
Yeah.
It was honestly so fucking good the way it was done.
And you know what? Like, that shouldn't be funny because it's actually really degrading.
Yeah.
But I fucking loved it.
So everyone that they kidnap is very talented, whether that's being a pianist or being a dancer, or being a singer, being an artist. And then they all perform their skill in a show. And then after the show, it's very, very spicy between the wealthy people and the performers. Yeah. So obviously, as you would expect, captors and captive start coming together. And secrets start to be unearthed.
Oh my God.
About her mum.
Just impeccable. Like, there was so many twists and turns. And like, because she was 0, she wasn't actually a number. Like, so they already knew when they told her that she was 0 that she was going to be different. And she was like in their quarters. So she was kept away from everyone anyway.
She got to see them without their masks on, which nobody else did.
If anyone saw them without their masks on, they were never leaving.
So let's do ratings.
Yes.
Stars?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, 5.
4.5.
We'll never forget this.
So there are a lot of scenes that are amazing, but one of my favourite scenes is where they all get to know her, and like they take a little bit off her and then they say like hello or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The ritual scene. Yeah. That was so
insane.
Good.
Yeah, when she was on the table.
Yeah.
And all of the other numbers come in, and they basically have to introduce themselves. Should we do chili peppaaaazz?
Chilies. Okay, 3, 2, 1, 3.5. Ooh, okay, so she has got her V plates, but they still do bits. Yeah. Like, some things happen. And she's trying not to climax.
She does finish.
Yeah.
As much as she doesn't want to. She's trying to convince herself that she doesn't like them and she doesn't want it. But she knows, and we all know, and they know, that she does want them, and she does want it, and she does want to finish. So she does.
Yeah,
she eventually gives in. Every single time she does eventually give in. There's also a chastity belt.
There is a chastity belt, indeed.
There's a chastity belt in this. That was fun times.
But the thing is, with the guys, so the chastity belt gets put on in the end because all of the guys do bits with her but separately, and Jacob, who puts it on her, is like, nah, like, it's not going any further because I want to take her V plates and I don't trust you lot, basically.
Yeah, and I also don't trust myself. Yeah, so we need to lock that shit up.
Let's lock her up.
I did really enjoy it. I reckon we'll probably get more in book 2 as it progresses. I'm very excited for the second book. Now it's time for Darling Wildfire.
So this was our favourite book of the week.
Yeah.
And fuck me, was this amazing.
Yeah.
It's a 6-star read, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. This is actually book 2 for Red Rabbit. I think the series is called the Red Rabbit series, is it?
I think so.
So book 1 is Red Rabbit, and book 2 is Darling Wildfire. And book 2 is about Craven from Red Rabbit. Craven was the person who bought her at auction in Red Rabbit. We won't get into Red Rabbit too much at the minute, but that is basically all you need to know. And obviously in Red Rabbit, he was introduced to us as being a bad guy with potentially good intentions, but you didn't get know
that
at the time.
Yeah.
And then you get all of his backstory in Darling Wildfire, and you also get to go back to those scenes in Red Rabbit, in Darling Wildfire, and understand his mental state at the time, what he was thinking. Why he did what he did. And it's so good. The plot in this book, I have never in my life ever experienced or read anything like this. I was floored.
I don't even understand how someone could genuinely come up with something like this. Like, it's so far off.
It's
anything I've
mad.
ever read before.
Yeah.
Or even heard of. Like, so creative.
Yeah. When we've seen people talking about this on social media and online, I have not seen anyone at all at any point ever mention the fact that it is basically a live action COD. So all of the men that are kidnapped are or were a part of the military. So they're kidnapped, taken to this place, they're beaten down, run down, and then they are trained to then prepare for basically a live action COD that really wealthy people pay to watch. And it's insane.
It's
so
phenomenal.
Craven is one of the people that is kidnapped and thrown into this world.
But let's bear in mind, these people, when they get kidnapped, they've got families. Like, some of them are living with their sisters. Craven, he had a family, like he had twins and a wife, and they just get taken.
There is some twists and turns and plot twists in regards to that, which is just crazy. I mean, it is mental. This book is so mad. So much happens. I genuinely could not put this down.
I couldn't. I
couldn't stop reading.
I had to put it down to go to sleep, and that was it. I was waking up at 5 a.m. to read before going to work. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. Like, I physically couldn't. He's on a revenge hype. Like, he wants revenge on what happened to him back in the day. And it's dark. Like, it is dark as hell. Both in a spicy way, and not in a spicy way. It's wild. It's absolutely
crazy.
Wild.
The person who kidnaps them is not a nice man, and he takes a special liking to Craven/North, and he forces him to do things, and then North ends up taking the brunt of things on behalf of the other people in his team that he's taken a liking to, because he feels like he should deal with that. He can deal with it better than anybody else.
It was absolutely phenomenal. Like, it was phenomenal. I didn't see any of this coming at all. Like, none of it. And I'm literally speechless.
I know we already said what the stars are going to be, but should we just do them really quickly?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, 6. 6 out of 5, baby.
6 out of 5. Absolutely smashing it. Yeah.
All right, let's go straight into chili peppaaaazz.
The chillis.
3, 2, 1, 5.
4. I couldn't get enough of him.
No.
I really love how he takes control in every spicy situation. It is incredible.
There's also a little novella, which is basically just all of the spicy scenes that she couldn't fit into this book in another book. It's based around the two men, Atlas and Nyx. And it is just phenomenal.
Oh, so good.
I mean, there's a scene with, I think, is there like 5 or 6 of them in the scene? In there. I mean, it's basically just a novella of all the spice that wasn't in Darling Wildfire. Although there was a lot of plot in this, the spice that we did get, it was a lot.
It was so good. The team's call, I will not stop rambling on about that fucking team's call. Like, it was incredible. Do you know what? I did actually really enjoy the scenes with Red.
Red was the target. So Red is a woman, and she was the target, locked in a cage in the live action COD games, that each team had to make their way and rescue that target. And then the target was Red, was given to the winning team as a prize. It was a very nice experience for everyone involved, and some of those scenes were absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it was
really
to the point where
good.
Red was like, please, can you save me? Because I'm not going to any other team. Like, I want to be with you. Because they genuinely pleased her. It was so good.
It was such an amazing book.
I can't stop thinking about North telling people where to go in some of those scenes. Hence why he's number 2 on my book boyfriend list.
He was a dom daddy.
Woo!
All right. I think that's it.
That is the end.
That is the end of our first episode.
Well done if you got to the end.
We don't always read this many books during the week. I mean, sometimes we only read like 3. So this was actually quite a lot. But hopefully you like it. Let us know in the comments what you think. If there's any books you want us to read, any books you want us to review, also pop them in the comments. Let us know. Any themes that you would like us to go over for socials.
Yeah.
Let us know. We are happy to oblige.
Absolutely we are.
All right, I think that's it. Should we do a cheers?
Let's do a cheers.
Cheers.
Ah, that was a decent clink.